Hello, inner shifters, how you doing? Your host, Sophia here. Let's gently open the door to this one, starting a daily gratitude ritual, because it's like planting seeds that bloom into peace. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly, steadily, beautifully. I mean, if we're going to talk about improving health and wellness, this practice deserves a spotlight. And the best part, it doesn't require a gym membership, a blender, or fancy gear, it just needs you. Your heart, your noticing, your willingness to whisper to the world, thank you. Let me take you back to a moment that changed Clara. You know her, one of our favorite companions on this journey. Clara was overwhelmed, work, family, self-expectations. It felt like everything was stacked against her in tiny, invisible ways. Nothing catastrophic, just the usual thorns, traffic jams, unread emails. The sense that her life was speeding past in gray tones. One day, after a particularly numbing work meeting, she came home, plopped onto the couch, and stared at the ceiling. No tears, no rage, just blankness. She thought, I don't know when I last felt good. Then something quiet whispered inside her. Can we find something that is good, even just one? So she pulled out an old notebook and wrote, "Grateful for the smell of jasmine from my neighbor's porch." That line changed her trajectory. Not because jasmine solved her problems, but because in that moment she noticed. She stepped outside the blur and named something soft. And when she flipped the page the next morning and wrote again, grateful for how warm my teacup felt in my hands, the ritual was born. There's something ancient and sacred about noticing the good. Not the perfect, not the dramatic, just the good. And when you do it daily, your brain starts rewiring itself. Seriously, neuroscience loves gratitude. It reduces cortisol, strengthens the immune system, calms heart rate, improves sleep. But even more beautiful than all that, it shifts your identity. You stop being the person always behind. You become the person who says. Matteo found his way into this practice differently. He wasn't feeling particularly low, just stuck in autopilot. Wake, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. He knew life wasn't bad, but it wasn't lit up. So when a friend challenged him to text one gratitude note a day, just one small joy, it felt awkward at first. Grateful for my dog's excited tail after work, he sent on day one. Grateful for how the sky looked like spilled watercolor at sunset, he typed the next. After a week, something wild happened. He started looking for things to be grateful for on purpose. His brain got curious, his body got softer. By the end of the month, he said, I feel like I reclaimed my day. Oh, and that, my friend, is the magic. Gratitude doesn't wait for the big wins. It finds light in the ordinary and teaches you to live inside it. Now let me be clear, this ritual doesn't have to look one specific way. It can be a journal you keep hidden in your drawer. A sticky note you slap on your mirror each morning. A shared voice memo with a friend. A running list in your notes app. It can be private or loud, simple or poetic. What matters is that it's yours. Clara eventually added a twist. She included one gratitude for her body each day. Not just function, but experience. Grateful for my feet for holding me up all day, she'd write. Or grateful for my lungs for keeping rhythm as I cried without breaking. That's where real healing began. Her body stopped feeling like a project and started feeling like a partner. Matteo built a ritual around movement. Every time he walked, he named one thing he saw, one thing he felt, and one thing he was thankful for. Sometimes it was silly, grateful for that squirrel who ran like it was late for a meeting. Other times it cracked him open. Grateful for the way my chest hurts, it means I'm still loving. It didn't matter what he named. It mattered that he noticed. And you know what? Gratitude rituals start small but build deep. After a few weeks, patterns emerge. You start to see which parts of your life bring joy consistently. Which people nourish you, which places feel like medicine. Gratitude becomes your compass. But here's something even more powerful: it builds resilience. Because when hard days come, and they will, your ritual becomes refuge. Clara once wrote, "Grateful I made it through today, even though I wanted to hide." Oh, that entry didn't fix the pain, but it acknowledged her strength. And that acknowledgement, that's what lets you keep going. Matteo once struggled with anxiety during a stressful project. But even when his heart raced and his brain spiraled, he still wrote, "Grateful for the quiet hum of my space heater." It was tiny, but that one note grounded him. It was a thread back to calm. That's what daily gratitude does. It creates anchors. And let's not forget how this ritual ripples outward. When you practice gratitude consistently, you start expressing it more. To strangers, to loved ones, to yourself. You compliment more sincerely. You hug longer, you breathe deeper. People around you feel safer. You become a quiet beacon for connection. Clara started ending her texts with, "Thank you for being part of my day." And Matteo began leaving anonymous notes on his coworkers' desks. "You're appreciated more than you know." A gratitude isn't just inward, it's contagious. And when it spreads, wellness becomes community. So if you're wondering where to start, I'd say start where it's soft. Start tonight, before bed, 3 things, 1 sentence each, not perfect, just true. Grateful for the moment the rain stopped and the sun peeked through. Grateful that my laugh surprised me during that silly video. Grateful for the strength it took to get out of bed this morning. That's enough, that's powerful, that's healing. And as you build this ritual, you'll notice something wild. The things you used to overlook become treasures. The mundane becomes sacred. Your life starts gleaming not because it changed, but because you did. You became the person who says, who honors, who lives with their eyes open. Let gratitude be your quiet revolution. Using movement as a form of thanks, my friend, is like writing love letters with your limbs. It's gratitude in motion, it's wellness through presence. And it's one of the gentlest ways to celebrate your body, not just for how it looks, or even what it can do, but for everything it's carried, held, endured, and survived. We live in a world that's loud about movement. Count the steps, burn the calories, hit the goal. But what if movement wasn't about performance? What if it was a quiet thank you, a ritual of reverence? What if every stretch, every breath, every walk down the street could whisper to your body, "I see you, I appreciate you"? That's the idea behind using movement as gratitude. Not punishment, not pressure, just presence, just praise. Clara found this after recovering from a long illness. She'd gone weeks without being able to move freely, too tired, too sore, too defeated. And when she finally got strong enough to walk again, she said something that stayed with me forever. "I don't want to move because I have to. I want to move because I can." And that right there, that's the heart of this practice. Her first walk wasn't about mileage or pace, it was about noticing. The way her feet met the earth. The way her breath kept time with her steps. The sunlight on her face. She said thank you not just out loud, but through the motion itself. A thank you, lungs, for expanding again. A thank you, legs, for showing up. Thank you, spine, for holding me upright even when I didn't feel whole. That walk became a sacred ritual. Not every day, not every week. Just when she needed to remember the beauty of her body's resilience. And she swore it changed her relationship with movement. "I used to exercise because I was afraid of falling behind," she told me. "And now I move to catch up with my soul." Matteo had his own turning point after an emotional burnout. He used to hit the gym hard, lifting to cope, running to escape, pushing through pain because he thought it made him strong. But over time, he started feeling disconnected. His body looked fit, but his spirit felt wrung out. Until one day, he took off his shoes and danced in his apartment. No music, no routine, just instinct, just breath, just release. Afterwards, he collapsed on the floor and cried, not because he was sad, but because for the first time in years, movement felt like freedom. Not obligation, not control. Just gratitude for being alive. From that day forward, he started weaving gratitude into his workouts. Before lifting, he'd take a moment to thank his arms for holding so much. During yoga, he'd whisper thanks to his knees for their strength and his hips for their forgiveness. After walks, he'd touch his chest and say, "Thank you, heartbeat." It didn't make the physical results faster, but it made them richer, truer. What's wild is that this kind of intentional movement doesn't just feel good, it heals. Gratitude has measurable effects on the nervous system, reducing stress, improving sleep, strengthening immunity. And when paired with movement, those benefits multiply. Because movement itself releases endorphins, boosts circulation, and reconnects you with your physical form. Combine that with conscious appreciation, you've got a wellness ritual that nourishes from the inside out. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You can stretch for 5 minutes in the morning, numbing each joint with gratitude. You can sway in the kitchen while your coffee brews. You can walk around the block, thanking the world for its textures and sounds. You can lay on the floor and breathe deeply, praising your diaphragm for its loyal rhythm. Every act of movement becomes a meditation. Clara once told me, "I don't always love my body's appearance. But when I move with love, I love being in it." Oh, that distinction is everything. Gratitude through movement isn't about what others see. It's about what you feel. It's about reminding yourself that your body isn't just a container, it's a companion. Mateo added movement gratitude to his journaling practice. After each workout, he'd write a short thank you note to one part of himself. "Dear shoulders," he wrote once, "thank you for carrying the weight literally and figuratively." Another time, "Dear feet, you never complain, you just keep going." I see you, these notes weren't poetic, they were tender, honest. And each one helped him build self-trust. And trust is the unsung hero of wellness. When you begin to trust your body, you stop fighting it. You stop punishing it, you start collaborating. You move with it, not against it. And that cooperation, that's what makes health sustainable. Even rest can be movement gratitude. Taking the time to nap, stretch gently, soak in a bath, these are ways of saying, "Thank you, body, I won't push you today." Clara now has a ritual she calls the pause. Once a week, she lies down, listens to calming music, and gently presses her hands over her core. No pressure, no agenda, just presence, just thanks. She told me once, "I used to chase wellness as a goal, now I offer it as a gift." And what a gift it is to honor the miracle of moving. Of breathing, of blinking, of carrying joy and pain through the same flesh. What a miracle it is to stretch toward gratitude not as an afterthought, but as a way of life. Mateo now leads a community movement group called Thankful Motion. No counting reps, no tracking calories. Just intentional, appreciative movement walks, breathwork, stretching, dancing. At the end of each session, everyone shares one thing they're grateful for about their body. The range is stunning, thankful for my scars, thankful for my laughter, thankful for surviving. And that circle pulses with something stronger than fitness, it pulses with belonging. So if today feels rushed or distant or tangled, here's your invitation, move slowly, mindfully. Let your hand touch your heart, let your feet ground you, let your breath whisper thanks. Not because you owe your body performance, but because it has already given you presence. You are allowed to move in celebration. You are allowed to walk like prayer. You are allowed to rest like worship. Speaking gratitude out loud, to others and yourself, is the kind of practice that gives voice to love. To presence, to appreciation. It's not just a wellness tool, it's a way of living wide open. When gratitude shifts from a quiet thought to a spoken truth, It stops being abstract and starts connecting. And that connection, that's where healing lives. There's something powerful that happens when you say thank you out loud. It lingers in the air, it echoes beyond your body. It affirms both the giver and the receiver. Whether it's whispered to yourself in the bathroom mirror or spoken over tea to someone you love, it matters. And over time, it becomes your heartbeat, your rhythms. Your way of walking through the world not as a reaction, but as a witness to grace. Clara started exploring this after noticing how much she felt but didn't always express. She'd notice kindness and beauty, but the words stayed trapped in her throat. Not out of ingratitude, out of habits. One day, after her best friend helped her through an emotionally heavy conversation, Clara hugged her and said, "You always know how to hold space for me." Thank you for that. Her friend froze for a second, then burst into tears. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that, she whispered. That moment was Clara's wake-up call. She realized that gratitude isn't just a private practice, it's a form of connection. And when shared aloud, it builds bridges, deep ones. From then on, she made it her quiet mission to speak her thanks. Not performatively, not in grand gestures. Just honestly, deliberately, she'd thank the barista not just for the coffee, but for the care. She'd tell her sister, "I'm grateful for your humor, it makes heavy days easier." She'd look in the mirror some mornings and say, "Thanks for showing up, even tired." And you know what happened, her world softened. People felt seen around her, she felt seen by herself. And her nervous system, it began to settle. Because expressing gratitude isn't just kind, it's regulating. Speaking affirmations activates parasympathetic responses, helping the body shift from fight or flight into safety. That's why it feels so calming when someone tells you they appreciate you. It's biology, it's heart, it's home. Mateo discovered the self part of this after a tough therapy session. He'd been carrying guilt, shame, and the feeling of never doing enough. His therapist gently asked him, "What's one thing you're proud of today?" Mateo mumbled something about finishing a work project. Then paused. "Actually," he said slowly, "I showed up for myself. I kept the appointment. I'm grateful I didn't cancel." And just saying that out loud made something shift. He started a small ritual. After brushing his teeth each night, he'd look at his reflection and speak one sentence of gratitude to himself. Thank you for trying. Thank you for breathing through the anxiety. Thank you for that extra glass of water. At first it felt strange, but over time it became sacred. A moment of affirmation. A practice of seeing himself as worthy of praise, not just correction. Now every morning, he begins with a spoken thanks, sometimes into the air, sometimes into his journal, sometimes into the silence. Thank you, day, for arriving. Thank you, body, for another shot. Thank you, breath, for being loyal. The ripple effect was huge. He became more patient, more attuned, less reactive. Because gratitude grounds you. It keeps you from spiraling into lack and brings you back into enough. Spoken gratitude, especially directed inward, rewires self-worth. It's like planting kind seeds in soil that's been hardened by criticism. Clara started sharing this with her wellness circle. She suggested gratitude phone calls, 5-minute chats where each person shares one thing they're thankful for about themselves and one thing they appreciate in the other person. It wasn't therapy, it wasn't coaching, it was witnessing. And the changes were beautiful. People began saying things like, "I've never told myself I'm proud before," or "I didn't know I could thank myself." Let the words be small or poetic or clumsy or clear. Doesn't matter, just let them live outside you. Try this once. "I appreciate how patient I was today." Thank you, water, for softening my breath. Thank you, coworker, for your honesty. Thank you, hands, for everything you held. Speak the thanks, let them echo. Let them build bridges between your heart and the world. You are allowed to be vocal in your appreciation. You are allowed to affirm yourself. You are allowed to let love move through your words. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.